Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. And by the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission advocates on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
Hi, and welcome to a very special Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel, and I'll be your host tonight. Tonight you're going to witness something that's a landmark event by any standards. It is the 1000th episode of a television show. And here to help us celebrate this, we have our first live studio audience. We've invited some folks to join us tonight who are going to share a little background about Community Hotline, a little bit of the history, and talk about the impact that it's made on the community. The show has evolved over the years, but it remains a valuable resource to nonprofits, to schools, and government agencies. And thank you all for joining us, and now on with the show. We're going to start out tonight talking with my first guest, Atsidi Hannon. Thanks for being here, Atsidi.
Thank you for having me.
You are the executive assistant here at MetroEast.
Yes.
You are the co-producer and the host of Nuestra Comunidad, which is the Spanish language version of Community Hotline.
Yes, a lot of us here at MetroEast wear a lot of hats.
Yes, that's absolutely true. So let's talk a little bit about the focus of Nuestra Comunidad and Community Hotline. Mm-hmm. The show originated 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And the focus has been mostly nonprofits. What has your experience been working with the nonprofits through your show and helping out with Community Hotline?
It's been amazing to be able to be a part of it. First, just volunteering. I got involved by volunteering on Community Hotline, and then the Spanish show, Comunidad. And then after that, the host kind of left, and so I took over, and since then I've just seen how much of an impact it has on the community when we have different nonprofits talking about the different types of services that they offer to the community and that they have available that people really don't know about because it's so hard to kind of publicize those kind of services. Right. And it's great to get those emails like, oh, we doubled the amount of people that came to our event compared to last year, and we know it had to do with this. Or, you know, this person called and said that they saw us on TV and, you know, that they could use our service. So for me, the best part is just getting that feedback and knowing that we're making a difference in the community.
Right, I would agree. You know, I always did a lot of volunteering in the past, and I grew up in a family where we did a lot of volunteering, mm-hmm. and it was important. And I liked working for nonprofits and with nonprofits. So when I first came here, I was at the front desk like you are. And I really wanted to help out on the Community Hotline show. It had been going for a while. And we'll talk with Allison pretty soon, who was the producer of the show then. But I asked if I could help out and try to get some of the guests for the show. And it was so much fun to find all those different nonprofits and bring them on the show. It's interesting, though, as the host of this show, some of those nonprofits are ones that actually are meaningful to me. You know, they're nonprofits that perhaps affect people that were in my life. You know, for example, if you know somebody who has had cancer and then you're watching the show and it's the American Cancer Society, or you're watching a show about an organization like the Infusion Gallery who works with developmentally challenged adults, and maybe you have one in your life, and you're finding out about something that is available, a resource that's available to the people that you love or to yourself, and I think that really does make a difference.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of people just don't know that all these resources are available just 2 blocks away from their house, and
Right.
you know, this is a great way for them to get to know their community a little bit better and what the programs that it has to offer. And so CHL tapes about 20. It's been around for 20 years.
20 years,
and then
right.
it tapes about 40 episodes a year with 100 nonprofits. And is it something, do you find it to be a struggle to get nonprofits, or are you booked way ahead in advance?
You know, it's not a struggle to find nonprofits. I am amazed at how many nonprofits there are in the area, in East County and throughout the greater Portland area. And it's funny because I go out to a lot of community events and I talk to a lot of people, and anybody that you meet has either worked for a nonprofit, has volunteered at a nonprofit, or they've benefited from a nonprofit. I mean, I bet you there's nobody in the studio who has not in some way been involved with a nonprofit. So it's easy. I just, you know, ask people, so hey, have you ever worked in a nonprofit, or do you do any volunteer work? What's your favorite nonprofit? And there's ones I've never heard of, large and small, so it's easy to find them. It is easy to find them. And most nonprofits are interested in trying to get the word out in a way that's no cost to them. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
And it's visual too, and they get to show videos, they get to show photos, they get to, you know, show their posters, so it's much more visual. And another great thing is that we don't just showcase this on TV, we also have the videos on YouTube, and so we then send them the links, that way they could put it on social media and
Or their
on their
websites.
website. And we all know the impact of social media today is just
Right.
huge. Videos can go viral, and so I think it's great that they use that, you know, to get the word out.
I think that's the important part, is actually take advantage of that opportunity. You know, we talked a little bit about Nuestra Comunidad. When a few years ago, we were working with the MHCRC on our agreement, and one of the things they said was, you know, you have a large Spanish-speaking community, and it's getting bigger, so you really need to reach out to that community and make that part of your programming. And we had Spanish programming, but we made a very concerted effort to reach out more to the Spanish-speaking community in East County. And part of that was to decide to try to do a community hotline once a quarter in Spanish. So we had a lovely woman from the Multnomah County Library came and was hosting that for a couple of years. And then we decided we need some people on our staff who actually speak Spanish, and then we hired you and Seth. And so having you as the host of Nuestra Comunidad has been great. Do you feel like it's made a difference? I find that the Spanish-speaking community has been super receptive.
Absolutely. I mean, even sometimes you have guests that don't know about Nuestra Comunidad, and then you tell them, you know, we have the Spanish version too, and they say, oh, you know what, we have someone in our organization that's a Spanish speaker who could also reach out to, you know, that part of the community.
Right.
And so it's not necessarily all the organizations need to be targeted towards Spanish speakers, but if you have a person in your organization that works there that is a Spanish speaker, they could come in and represent that organization. And it's been very popular. We did it once a quarter when I took over, and we now do it every other month, and we will, you know, change as the need changes. You know, we are constantly booked, and people are reaching out to be on the show, so it's been a great success.
Tell me, before we run out of time here, there was an organization called Donate Life Northwest who came on Community Hotline, and then they also decided to come on the Spanish language version. Tell me what happened with that.
Yeah, so the person who heard about the show and set up the interview, Arcadia from Donate Life Northwest, I received an email from her about a month after the interview happened, and she said she received a phone call from an older man who said that his wife had passed away. She had complications with her kidneys, and Donate Life Northwest is about, you know, donating organs, and they was the segment was specifically about kidneys. And he said, you know, the segment kind of touched him and his entire family who were watching, and that they showed up at the organization and they wanted to get involved, and now they're all volunteers.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And what I also heard from that is that they have a real connection to the Latino population, and that they're getting more people that are coming to be donors because of the show.
Yes, and that's what that's what they wanted. It's hard sometimes for organizations to get volunteers that are Spanish speakers. So obviously they'll be watching a Spanish, show. So this is a great outlet for that.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you, Atsidi. I appreciate you being on tonight and being a wonderful host of Invested Community.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We couldn't do this show without amazing crew and staff and volunteers, and they're all led by my co-producer, Emily Vidal, who is also our director. And I'd like to take a few minutes now to show some behind-the-scenes footage featuring Emily and some of our volunteers, and it also features some of the archival footage from previous Community Hotline shows. So let's take a look at that now.
Gresham Rotary Club was founded in 1948.
And I'd like to tell you about Rita's Place and our fundraiser.
I'm Bridget Bayer. I'm the coordinator for Opportunity Knox.
Welcome to this edition of Community Hotline.
Hi, welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel, and I am here this evening with Major James Sloan of the Salvation Army.
Bienvenidos a nuestra comunidad, una producción de MetroEast que presenta a las organizaciones sin fines de lucro locales que ayudan a la comunidad latina. Hi, welcome back to Community Hotline. Wow, that was fun watching that. One of those scenes was from, I think, my very first time on this show, which is kind of fun to watch. And it was a very scary experience, if I remember. But now, here with me tonight, I have Allison Harden. You were the first producer of Community Hotline, is that right? You were the one that actually was the brainchild behind the show?
I wouldn't say I was the brainchild. In fact, the idea was a vision of the team that I worked with. And I was the new one who got employed, and they said, how about this project?
So that became your job
and
then.
that became my job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about the start of it. Why did MetroEast and the team decide that this would be a good idea?
Well, MetroEast, it was MCTV at the time, was a great place to have access to equipment to make your own show. But one thing that we felt was missing was this making it even easier for people was providing a show where they could easily come on and talk for 15 minutes about themselves. So we started two shows at the same time. One was for individuals to speak out and talk about any issues that they wanted to speak out. Okay. And the other was to open up Community Hotline, which was to give nonprofits a chance to talk about their services in a very easy way. They didn't have to learn the equipment. They didn't have to invest a lot of time, just a little bit of time to prepare and show up.
So who crewed the show then? It was volunteers and staff who were the crew of the show?
Yeah, so the behind the scenes would be a bunch of staff who would help organize and get us prepare for the day, but then also there were community volunteers who had learned how to use the technology, who could help run us the crew positions for a studio production.
Okay. Well, obviously it was a good idea because we're now in our 20th year. It was a live show even back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it started as a live show, thus the name, like Community Hotline. I think it kind of connected to this idea of, well, one, being live, but we had live call-in potential when we first started the show, thinking that people might actually call in and ask questions of the nonprofits.
Right. And sometimes they did, and sometimes, depending on the subject matter, it wasn't quite as, there wasn't quite as many calls, but but that was a great experience, and that's tough sometimes to do a live show. Was it a challenge to do that?
Well, once you do it a lot, I mean, much like you were nervous for your first show, you get in a groove and you figure things out. And when you have a crew of people, even though they are volunteers, they learn over time, and it becomes like a machine working together to do a production. And I'd say the benefits of doing a live show are that everyone knows they have to, behind the scenes, do their part and get it done just right, or as close to right the first time.
Right, no do-overs.
Just do it, and you don't waste time. You get it done.
Yeah, it's an efficient way to do a production. Now, Community Hotline now, at that time you did a new show every week, and you taped every week, right? Or you did a live show every week.
Yeah.
So now, just to give me and Emily and some of the others a little bit of a break, we do it the second and fourth Wednesday of every month. So we do a live show at 7 o'clock on those nights, but we also do a taped show at 5 o'clock, and that's the show that will play the next week. But there have been a lot of changes, and now that live show is not only shown on our cable channels, but we we live stream it to Facebook as well. So,
I know. Yeah. So this was very different times when it started up, because people were barely using the internet to communicate by email, so we didn't have all those opportunities. And so this was really a rare chance for a nonprofit to come on and really tell their own story in their own way. And the difference was there was no host at the time, so they were there to tell their own story, which I would say actually was a bit of a challenge for people. So it's nice that it evolved to have a host and someone who can help bring out that story for them.
Right. And so some nonprofits did really well doing that. I know I've watched some of the old footage, and some of them did great. Others, I know that because of nerves, they just kind of rushed through it, and we're done way before their allotted time, and it could be a little nerve-wracking, I think, but it's been fun hosting the show and working with all the nonprofits. So did you think that this was an important show when you started? Did you think that it was something that was going to make an impact on nonprofits, or were you just so worried about getting this new job done that you didn't really
I mean,
think about
I got involved in community media because I believed in the idea of getting out different voices, helping people get out their own voice.
Right.
And so providing this for nonprofits was high on my list of things I wanted to be doing and why I was involved. And so I believed in that. And
how long were you the producer of the show?
Well, 13 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Good. So do you? So you felt like it made a difference and it made an impact on the community?
Yeah, as best. Yeah, and you would hear stories about. The thing about us is being the producer, but we wouldn't necessarily get the feedback. It would be the organization would. So maybe we didn't always hear what kind of impact it had for the organization as much as I would have liked. But we did hear stories. People would come back year after year, and you could tell that it made a difference for them.
So you did have return guests, as we do too. Sometimes people are a guest on a show the first time, and they don't know really if they want to get into it. Oh, here's a.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's you up there. Yeah.
Oh, there I am. Yep.
There you are. So this is one of your old crews, I take it, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. So people do come back. They if they enjoy the experience or they get something out of it, they will call and ask to return, which is great. Who are some of the organizations that are still around that you remember working with? Do you recall?
Well, I mean, I can remember Habitat for Humanity was there at the beginning, and they would show pictures of houses they worked on. We had Oregon Humane Society, the Community Energy Project. I enjoyed, like my father's house, my sister's house, and then there were some theater companies from Gresham, so Gresham Little Theater and Mount Hood Repertory Theater, and they even came on and did little mini performances or showed segments to promote their theater.
Yeah, it's fun when you get a little live performance in there too.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen as often, but that does add a lot. Yeah, and many of those are still around and have come on Community Hotline since then. So that's great it's great to see that it's still going on. Anything else you remember that was unusual or interesting about the show that, from a producing standpoint, was it?
Well, really, a Community Hotline became a great, once a week, we had a great opportunity for volunteers to come and learn how to do production.
Right.
You can figure it out on your own, but to be involved with professional staff who understand how to do it, it was a great opportunity for them to learn.
And I think it still is. We have people that go through our classes, our workshops. They may want to do their own show, but they're not really ready to. So they want to work on somebody else's production to get a little more experience, a little bit of practice. And working on this show is a great one because it's half staff and half, or it's led by staff. But the volunteers are really the core of the crew. So it's a great experience.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, Allison, so much for being here on this. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back with a couple people who have been on Community Hotline as well. I know this was your first time on the show as a guest, but we'll talk to them about what the resources here have meant to them as nonprofits. So we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Every week on Community Hotline, we highlight the great work of local nonprofits in our area. And now you can also see us on our live Facebook feed, 7 p.m. every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. So tune in and find out what's going on in your community.
It is so important for me to have the right be able to speak what I want to speak and talk about what I want to talk about.
If you start shutting this person up and shutting that person up and shutting this person up, that's not America.
Hi, welcome back to Community Hotline. You know, one of the nice things about doing this show is that I get some really great guests on here, and a lot of them get to be my friends, and that's the case with these two guests. So I'm very happy to have both of you on here. Joy Church, you have been a nonprofit executive since 1999. Is that about right?
Yes.
Yes, I think so. And you're currently a board vice president for the Portland Kitchen.
That's right.
And it's great to have you here again.
Oh, thank you so much. Great to be here.
Thank you. And Mario Palmero, you're a Gresham City Councilor.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. You've been on the show talking about the homeless situation in East County. You've done a lot of work with Human Solutions and different organizations.
And thank you for inviting me. And I saw that clip of you several years back. You looked exactly the same. You have not aged a day.
Right. Thank you. That's why I have you on the show. So it's really great to have you both here. And I really wanted you to be on here because you do a lot of the same work. You do a lot of work with at-risk kids and communities that are underserved. And I'm thinking about Community Hotline, and when you come on, how has your experience been as a guest on the show? How has it impacted the work that you do?
Well, certainly for the Portland Kitchen, we've been around for a little over 4 years. And even before I started, you had the culinary director on with some of the students. Correct. And I think that really helped to get the ball rolling for the organization to feel like it was real, for one thing, and to recruit students. So in the very beginning, getting the word out about, hey, this program is for at-risk teenagers, how you might have a great mission, but how do you share that message? So the Community Hotline was vital to that. And then, of course, getting donors and volunteers, all of those things. You can have a great message and a great mission, but how do you share that word? Right. And of course, every dollar we want to spend it back into the program, so we don't spend money on marketing.
Right.
So then that becomes challenging. So thanks so much to you and this organization. We've been successful in helping more and more students in East County.
Right. So you've originally you have served students in Park Rose and Madison high schools, and that may expand as the program expands. But your organization provides culinary skills and actually a lot more to at-risk students.
That's right. So we are in the midst of a reorganization. We are hoping to potentially merge or partner with a larger organization to grow even more, because we have a good product. We want to help more and more kids. Right. But we've been primarily in Park Rose. Students can come from any place for the culinary education, but it's really life skills too.
Right.
You know, it's about commitment and dedication and working as a team, and these kinds of soft skills that are so important to being able to be successful citizens in our community later on. Right. So culinary is just the method to get students in. You know, we've got a homeless problem in our area, and so we know that some of our students, they come to us initially because they get a meal that way. So they cook a meal and they get to eat a meal together. So at least it's a guaranteed, you know, hot meal for the day.
Well, and you're teaching them how to cook.
Yes.
So that they don't have to get all their food from McDonald's or wherever. You know, they can actually cook a meal for their family and know how to do that. Exactly. But it goes beyond that. You're teaching them things that are skills that can transfer into jobs. Correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have this core program for at-risk teenagers, 14 through 18, and then we did just a pilot recently of a culinary to career program for 18 to 24-year-olds to really get them truly ready for jobs. Whether they decide to stay in the culinary industry is a little beyond the point, but we want this as a stepping stone for them to be able to, you know, get a job, be able to go to school, pay rent, get a car, do all the things that they need to do to get started on their own path.
Right. Right.
So really important, and again, to be able to share what we're trying to do, we need resources like Community Hotline to do that.
Yeah, thank you. So Mario, yes.
Well, Monica,
yes.
let me just say this. So one of our goals in the city, especially my goal being in politics, is to improve the quality of life of our citizens. And I want to thank you and everyone here, the producers, people behind the camera, for their part in informing the public, informing people in East County about all the organizations that we have, the resources that we have, and connecting them to those resources. And that is vital, that is important, and I want to thank you for your time, your dedication. It is a lot of work. I've seen you guys work late at night. You guys are wonderful, and we're just so lucky that you guys are here and you guys are doing what you do.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Well, we have a great partnership with the city. It's a really good it's a good working partnership.
Well, that's
there
good.
are so many different facets of the government.
Yes.
I mean, in the city, we've had people on, you know, not only you, but we've had people come on and talk about the solid waste and recycling program, or we've had somebody come on and talk about the second home program for those are for homeless youth, right? That are trying to find another place.
We're trying
a place to live so they can finish school.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I think one of the benefits of Community Hotline is that we can connect people with resources they may not otherwise know about.
Right.
For example, there are ways that people can get job training, or job training, or there's a way for kids to get a GED or a high school diploma. Or there's resources like where can I go if I need shelter?
Exactly.
Where can I go if I need a meal?
And you guys do a great job of getting that information out there, so people from Rockwood to Persimmons know where to go, what numbers to call, and just know how to access that information. And that's because of you guys and all the hard work.
Now, you're a resident of the area, correct?
Oh yeah. I live, work, and volunteer in Gresham.
Right.
Yeah.
So what other organizations have you worked with besides Human Solutions, which I know you've...
Well, El Programa Hispano. One thing that I am happy to see is that you guys are doing shows in Spanish to share that information. I'm hoping maybe in the near future in Russian. Maybe we have a growing Russian population.
We have some Russian-speaking staff now.
I'm trying to learn Russian. It's not that good, but I'm trying.
I heard that you were learning that. That's right. So you're fluent in Spanish and obviously English.
Right.
But you are studying Russian.
I'm studying Russian. It's not going very well, but
you're
trying.
You're doing it.
I'm trying.
Well, it's more than I can say. So. But we do actually broadcast, I think, in 10 different languages.
Oh, do you?
So if somebody wants to come on and wants to learn how to do their own show, to keep in touch with the other people in their community that speak the same language, you can
we have a diverse community in East County.
Yeah, we sure do.
Yes.
And that's another thing is that just being able to connect people with each other, I think, is really important. A lot of times that organization will come on and, maybe I'll talk to you, Joy, and you'll tell me about the Portland Kitchen. I'll think, she really needs to meet this person over here, or they need to work with this person. And it's nice to be able to make those connections and know that, that they're going to help. It's going to help each other. I think one of the things that I've noticed the most since I started hosting the show is that in the beginning, it felt like nonprofits were fighting for the same dollars and trying to get the same publicity, and it was, they were working against each other. I find now that there's a lot more collaboration. Do you find that the nonprofits are working more together? Because you can get a whole lot more if you partner with them.
Well, right. I mean, in the city of Portland, actually Portland metro area, there are over 5,000 nonprofits at this point.
Wow.
So it is not an option to try to do it on your own, because there are so many of us trying to do some of the same work, and that partnership is vital to really helping the whole person.
Right.
So with the Portland Kitchen, we may be, the title is about, it's culinary skills, but those same people have other things that they need, and so we can work together and provide resources. We're much better as a whole in this way than trying to say, we can't help you, or we just do this one thing, good luck. Because we know the resources are out there, and so we can help each other. With the Portland Kitchen as an example, we don't offer counseling services, but we know we have some families and students that need that kind of support, and we can easily help them navigate that system. Again, but without collaboration, we wouldn't be able to do that. So I think that's really important, and I think that is something unique about the Portland metro area, is that we really are actively partnering together. I hear from other cities around the country that isn't the case, and that's something that I think places want to work on, and they just don't know how to do it. So
maybe they need to take a page out of our book here.
There you go.
Maybe come and visit you and talk about their organizations.
Well, and you too, because I see that all the time. I know I recently had somebody from SMIRC, which is a sexual youth minority resource center, and they have a location in Open School right now. But then they're going to be, as soon as Boys and Girls Club is open, they're going to move in there. So it's they're providing resources for the same kids, but in the same locations and working together.
And it's vital that we, as a community and as nonprofits, work together. I mean, it's vital for our community now, but also for the future. I mean, we have children. We have my son's here.
That's right. Mario.
And little Mario's here, and we need to make sure that we start working together, not work in silos, to move forward, to lift people up, and to make sure that they have all the resources they need to be successful.
Right. What do you see as the greatest issue as a city councilor in this area? The greatest problem, or one of the greatest problems?
Well, I think homelessness and the effects it has on children, graduation rates, pregnancy rates.
Because that's not a single problem.
It affects so much.
Else.
Oh yes, and affordable housing would be the second, and making sure that our seniors have somewhere to go. A lot of them are on fixed incomes and living in apartments that they'll just raise the rent, and they have nowhere to go. So we have to make sure they did their part. They participated in society. They paid their taxes. They paid their dues. So it's our turn to make sure that we take care of them, make sure they're okay. So those three things, yeah.
And it's great to be able to have those nonprofits that cover all the spectrum, from the Gresham Senior Center, all the way down to something for kids, infants who are born with some disease, or everything in between. It's good to have those nonprofits. So I appreciate people like you that work very hard in the community to really make a difference.
Thank you.
And I hope you continue doing it.
I will.
We need you.
Thank you.
So we're going to take a short break now, and we're going to come back and talk with a local businesswoman who is also making a difference in the community, and she's going to talk a little bit about her corporate social responsibility. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Coming here to shoot my documentary was more than I ever would have dreamed of doing.
This is a community media station.
It was phenomenal.
Ready, camera one.
What is it about this place that makes so many different people come together?
Ready, camera two.
Very professional, experienced people.
You can use these industry standard pieces of equipment.
Ready, camera three. Take three.
to be rich to do this.
Open people's eyes to something they've never even thought of before.
Cool stuff happens. It becomes this community.
That's going to really change who's telling the stories and who's controlling the messaging.
Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. Now I'd like to introduce you to a woman who is a keen businesswoman in the community. You've probably heard of her, and you may have heard not only of her business, but of the amazing work she does in the community as a supporter of our schools and nonprofits. Welcome, Bess Wills.
I'm so happy to be here, Monica, and celebrate this 1000th show with you.
Thank you, thank you. You know, Bess, you're not only a great community member, and it's so nice to have you as a guest, but you're also the general manager and co-owner of Gresham Ford, our very first sponsor. So a very first corporate sponsor, and it's a delight to have you here.
Well, we're privileged to do this. I mean, it's certainly an honor for us.
Thank you, thank you. Now you have taken Gresham Ford and really made it into a major player in support of the schools and nonprofits in the area. I mean, anytime there's a fundraiser around, your name is associated with it, is what it seems like. Tell me why that's important to you, and why is that important to your company?
Well, at Ford Motor Company, there's a long legacy. You know, Henry Ford is quoted, you know, literally 100 years ago saying, a business that makes nothing but money is a poor business. And so, you know, I think that anyone, you know, you always have to look out, okay? Whether you're helping a nonprofit or another business in your area, the only way your business will succeed is if you're willing to give outward, you know what I mean? Look outward, you know, and so forth. And so, you know, we've always been a big advocate of that, and being able to have part ownership in Gresham Ford and make those decisions and do a lot of cause marketing has just been a true blessing for me in my career.
Well, it's made a huge difference in the community. I know that there have been many successful fundraisers and events because of sponsorship and support from organizations like yours, and you've been a really big part of that. You also have a program, I understand, at Gresham Ford called Contribute to the Community. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I'd like to tell you about that, but prior to telling you about that, there's a lot of businesses in this community that, you know, support local nonprofits and charities. So I don't want to be put on any.
All about you.
I don't want to be put on a pedestal. I mean, you know, it's all about all of us working together. But we at Gresham Ford are very proud of our Contribute to the Community program, and it's where you come in, you buy the car, truck, or whatever you want, and as they're handing you the keys, you say, I want my tithe to go to whatever church or nonprofit you want that to go, and $100 goes there. Come in for service and you get an oil change, and it's whatever it is, your tithe, your 10%. When you check out at the cashier, if you ask for it, and you have a passion about some nonprofit or church, you can ask for it. We've donated, you know, to great local charities, but it's whatever our customers are passionate about. I mean, we've made a donation to Save the Yorkies in Texas, I think, you know, so over the past, you know, 7 to 10 years, we've touched over 240 churches and nonprofits, probably 160 some of them right here in our local community.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. So when you're doing that, it gives you a really good feeling, doesn't it? It gives you a good feeling to know that you're helping, but it's also a responsibility, I think, as a business owner and just as a member of the community that's something we need to do. I mean, I think that's my feeling. I don't know how you feel about it, but
well, as a business person, you know, we always want to get, you know, stretch the dollar as far as it can go, you know, and I think that's, you know, that's why I'm a business person, and that's why, you know, I'm so excited. I want to hear more about this Portland Kitchen, you know, to see, you know, what they do. You know, people that run nonprofits are really passionate about what they do, but sometimes they don't have the mechanism to get the word out about what they're passionate about. And so, that's been that's why we're so excited to sponsor, this community hotline program, because you're helping everybody. So we can help one nonprofit, if you will, and then they can go on and help everybody else. And so as a business person, that makes a lot of sense to me, so.
So there's actually some thinking behind it, not just the heart.
Well, I mean, the heart, I grew up in 4-H, so I could do the head, heart, hands, and health, thing, and so, so it all kind of goes together.
It does. So, as a sponsor, then we'll feature you, and we'll be able to get your name out there some. But I think I can't speak for everybody else, but when I go to find a new business that maybe I want to buy a car, or I want to, I don't know, I need some new office supplies, or I need to find a nail salon or something like that. If I'm looking for a new business and I know that they are a company that gives back to the community and is involved in the community, I want to go there first, because that's important to me. And I'm hoping that more people think that than I think they do. You know what I mean? I think that's important. If you're trying to choose, if you can choose somebody who's local, that's always a good thing, right? And if you can choose an organization that's actually committed to the community, that means a lot. It means a lot.
Well, Community Hotline has been a great avenue for us. At the Gresham Area Chamber of Commerce, we have Try Local First, and your hotline has helped us get that word out.
Right.
And when we talk about that, we talk about how supporting little local businesses make the difference. When you spend $100 in your community, right on Main Street in your community, $48 stays here in this community. When you go online and order from Amazon, $1 stays here in this community. And so it's not just, and quite frankly, that $48, that's where these nonprofits, businesses have to be healthy and vibrant in our communities so all the nonprofits can succeed and we can do all the wonderful work they want to do, the organ donor, resources and so forth. These things like, the Cancer Society, which you guys are doing in Rockwood with your computer classes is just phenomenal.
Thank you,
giving young women skills and so forth so that they can become productive members of our community.
And get jobs.
That's just like, that's a win-win.
Yeah, I agree. So we agree that it's a good thing, and that sponsoring. If we get more people sponsoring Community Hotline, I think that would be great, because it's going to trickle down and help those nonprofits. But we really do want to support our community and the wonderful nonprofits, because, like Joy was saying, there's 5,000 in the Portland metro area. That's a lot of nonprofits. That's a lot of nonprofits, so we can help them out. So, you think this is something other businesses should consider doing then?
Well, yeah, I think it should be, at the top of their giving list, yes. We all have our passions. My passion's kids and single moms and education. And, someone else's passion may be senior citizens or, finding a cure for cancer.
Or the environment or whatever,
But I would encourage any business to become a part of what you've got going on here at MetroEast, because this gets the word out on all of those things.
Yeah, thank you.
And you guys do such good work with the resources you have. This is a jewel in our community that has been underutilized, quite frankly, I think for, and I just, but I know you've done 1,000 shows, but there's 1,000 more shows to do.
Yeah, there are. There's a lot of need out there, and there's a lot of organizations that need education. They need to educate the public about what they do. So we're happy to try to help do that, and with the help of organizations like you, that makes all the difference in the world. So thank you, Bess, very much for being my guest tonight, and also to Gresham Ford for being our first corporate sponsor. We really appreciate that. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us tonight for this very special Community Hotline. I'd like to thank my other guests and also our crew tonight. We couldn't do it without our crew. It's staff and volunteers, and it's all led by Emily Vidal, and it wouldn't be possible without them. Also, I would like to state that we've been doing this for 20 years. The nonprofits, the schools, the government agencies, they've benefited from this, and we hope to do it for another 20 years. Remember to watch us every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. We're on TV. And also, finally, I want to say, in closing, a very special thanks to our live studio audience.